Hello there, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash, and of course I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. And welcome back to another of my Am I a Chap sartorial review series, where gentlemen send me in an image of themselves and I give some observations and some thoughts, maybe a bit of a steer on what I think of the outfit in my role as just an unqualified gentleman on a pilgrimage to Chap Nirvana. The point being, I'm not an expert. This is just my view. And today's image comes from a gentleman called Eric, who hails from Stockholm. And he actually wrote to me to ask me a question about umbrellas. But he sent me an image of himself with an umbrella. And I looked at the image and I thought, this is just too good to waste on just the answer of a question. I think I need to feature this gentleman on my Am I a Chap series. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what he says for himself. So Eric tells me that he is 40 years of age and he lives in Stockholm in Sweden, a place that I've visited. I actually spent a summer there a number of years ago with my family. We had a wonderful summer period in Sweden and stayed in Stockholm a few times during that period. Lovely, lovely place. One of my favourite cities in the world, and one I'm absolutely going to go back to. So what does he tell me? He's been on a journey to improve his style mainly over the last year. He's been a subscriber to the channel, which is a good start to improve your style. So he's been thinking about umbrellas lately and how an umbrella fits into the life of the intentionally well-dressed man. So I'll talk about that in a moment, but here we go with an image of Eric, which I feel needs unpacking, because whilst he's asking about an umbrella, I think his style, considering he's been only on a journey for the last 12 months, is one worth talking about. So let's embark upon a sort of assessment of Eric's outfit. And as I usually do, I'm going to start from the ground up. So let us look at the shoes which Eric is wearing here. Now, not entirely visible because they are slightly obscured by the grass on the path which he is standing on. But what we see here is a pair of, I would say, mid to lighter coloured brown wingtip brogues. All right, that's what we are looking at here. And whilst I would say the brogue is an excellent choice for an outfit, the thing that you have to be careful of with the brogue is the colour. All right, the colour is king when it comes to choosing one's footwear. Now, I've said in the past, and I will hold to it, I don't find the lighter browns to be as versatile as maybe a few shades darker. And what we see in the shoes that Eric is wearing here, and of course I can't tell you what they are, I can't see what brand they are. What I can see is that they're a lighter brown, and if you look at the base of the shoe, where the upper is stitched to the sole itself, you can see that the stitching is of a lighter colour again, right? So it's there's a strong delineation in the colour between the upper and the sole. This suggests to me that this is actually quite a casual shoe, designed as a casual shoe, not designed as maybe a formal shoe. And whilst it's being pressed into service with what is essentially quite a formal outfit, it may not be the ideal shoe for this outfit. That's all I'm going to say, because of that casual where the welting is attached to the upper and the sole, and the lighter colour. Because what happens when you have a lighter colour shoe like this is when you see the outfit as a whole, your eye is immediately drawn to the shoe, all right? And it sort of draws your attention because the contrast between the shoe and the material of the suit and the other accessories attracts your attention straight away. Your eye is drawn to the lighter, the contrast. Now, if you look at the briefcase or the attaché case, which has been carried by Eric, it's a darker colour. If the shoe was made of that colour leather, I would say it would be a perfect fit. All right, that is what I would love to see there. If that attaché case leather or the colour of that leather was carried into the footwear, I think it would be spot on. So for me, it's a little bit too light, and I think the shoes are designed as slightly more casual shoes. Now, what you could do with this shoe is get yourself from some sort of shoe cream, which has a lot more pigment in it, a darker colour, and apply that a few times, because you will find that darker pigment will darken that stitching around the welting of the shoe, and it will also it will also darken the leather itself. So it will take away some of that pop of that lighter colour, which might work well for you. If you're not in a position or don't wish to buy another pair of shoes, that might be a way to go. So let's move up the body. What we're looking at is a three-piece suit, which is, it looks to be a sort of charcoal grey in colour, and it looks to be of strong quality. I can tell just by the cut, by the way that it's made, that it is a high quality three-piece suit, be it vintage, be it new, it's impossible to tell. I would guess it's a little bit vintage, but it looks great. It's a good fit on Eric here as well. Let's look at the length of the trousers. Now, it looks like the trousers, yeah, they do have a cuff on them, so a turn-up, and it does appear that there is a little bit of excess material there, so there's a little bit of pooling of the material at the ankle. Just a little, all right? So you might, my goal is always with the break of the trousers, where the trouser meets the shoe, always to find that halfway down the lacing system of the shoes. So halfway down the laces. And if there's any pooling, that is something which can easily be remedied by a visit to the seamstress or the tailor. Easy get that sorted, inexpensively too. It's one of the easiest and cheapest alterations that can be undertaken. Moving up the body, the trousers, I can see a nice crease, well done. Always nice to see that a gentleman has gone to work with an iron, and it looks rather nice. I mean, looking again at the material, it's a good quality, slightly woolen suit, I would say, which looks rather nice. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's a two-piece notch lapel suit, which again has flat pockets. And yeah, it's a good quality business suit which one could wear anywhere. And it's a three-piece suit. So, sorry, we look underneath and there is a waistcoat visible. And I can tell it's good quality because the waistcoat itself has lapels on it. Most waistcoats don't, they have sort of a standard finish. But a waistcoat with lapels adds a little bit of elegance, which is what lends me to think this may be vintage, because you don't see it on many modern suits. It's a little bit of style which has gone out of fashion because it takes more effort and it's more expensive for the producer to do that. However, you can see how lovely it looks. The beauty of having the lapel on one's waistcoat, or vest if you're an American, I know you call waistcoats vests there, is that when you discard your jacket, say you're in work, you take the jacket off, hang it up when you're working at your desk, that lapel on your waistcoat just makes the outfit look finished. You know, even without the jacket on, it looks really stylish, which isn't the case when you're looking at a waistcoat which doesn't have a lapel. Just my observation. You might take a contrary view, but I think that makes all the difference. Now, looking at the way that this jacket sits on the body, I would say it's pretty damn good. It's a good jacket, fits well across the shoulders, fits well when the jacket is done up. Of course, you never do the bottom button up when you're wearing a jacket. They're designed so that the bottom button isn't done up when standing, and in this case, looks good. Yeah, it's a really nice fit. Looking at the sleeves, it's just about perfect. We can see that even in the stood standing position, there's ever such a little bit of cuff visible there, of the shirt rather, so it's going to from the protruding from the sleeve. You know, you're always looking for a quarter to a half of an inch, and that looks just right. It looks to be a lovely fit. Looking at the jacket itself, we can see a pocket square at the breast pocket, blue with some sort of recurring geometric pattern, which is just right, because when we look across to the other details worn, we can see that Eric here is wearing a light blue shirt with quite a pointed collar actually on it, somewhat less modernist, and he's wearing a tie bar which is underneath the tie which he's wearing. I really like the tie actually. It's a nice sort of club tie or regimental tie, navy in colour with stripes, which is a good collar up colour match with that charcoal grey suit and that light blue shirt. I think it looks rather nice. Seems to be a 4-in-hand knot, which is perfect for the sort of quite a small aperture in the pointed collar, which is designed obviously so that the bar can be placed under the knot of the tie so that it's pushed up to make it more prominent. Yeah, I personally don't like wearing collar bars with ties, but somewhat more vintage appearance, but it goes well with the aesthetic which Eric here is trying to achieve. My only observation what I would add a little bit here is I perhaps would go for a boutonniere or maybe some other sort of lapel adornment at the buttonhole, because the aesthetic which is being produced by Eric, which is sort of vintage style, would definitely merit maybe a boutonniere, maybe a silk boutonniere. It doesn't have to be a real flower, but it's something which would sort of fit in nicely, or maybe a badge or some other adornment, association with a club that you're a member of, a charity you support, something like that, because there's a lot of lapel there, a lot of real estate to decorate, and I think just something additional there would make the outfit pop. Being carried, we see a leather attaché case. So much so stylish, is it not, than some sort of ugly nylon backpack which you see so many men carrying these days. To carry an attaché case at all, and then to choose a leather one, is spot on, and it looks like a nice one, similar to one I carry myself. The only thing I would say that when you're carrying the attaché case, which is leather, and there are other leathers within the outfit, such as the shoes, you don't want too much of a contrast. I think you've got a bit of a contrast going here. So you'd be wearing, darker shoes perhaps to match with the leather. Of course, it's not always possible. You don't have a collection of attaché cases to wear with the shoes that you're wearing, but typically you would want, your leathers to be there or thereabouts matching. And of course, I can't go on without mentioning the bowler hat. And what we see here is a brown bowler hat, classic gentleman style. And yeah, I mean, what can you say? The bowler hat, I love the bowler hat. It's my favourite hat of all time. It's the most practical hat that a gentleman can wear. It's very stylish, it's very elegant, ticks all the boxes. I am just so sad that the wearing of bowler hats has fallen somewhat out of fashion. I'm sure that with a bit of effort, we can get them back into the wearing routine of gentlemen. And this one is brown, which is something you don't see all that often, which fits in quite nicely with, of course, we're wearing brown shoes and we're carrying a brown leather attaché case. So the brown hat brings sort of continuity to the outfit. I think it would work anyway, because brown does lend itself to go very nicely with charcoal grey. It's one of those colours which allows the wearing of other colours very readily, does charcoal grey. So the brown bowler is definitely what people look at in this outfit, because it's somewhat unusual, somewhat stylish. And again, it lends itself to this sort of vintage aesthetic which Eric is going for. You can see the spectacles he's chosen, again, somewhat vintage in their style. And I get the impression of a classically elegant, vintage leaning gentleman, which looks good. Now, I've got to answer the question about umbrellas, because, similar to Sweden, or even more so really, the UK's a temperate climate, so we do get cooler, wetter winter periods. It's summertime now. I'm sat in the shadows, thankfully, because it's super hot and super sunny, just 10 meters from where I am now. I'm bathing in a bit of cool here, but in the winter time, it definitely rains a lot. So an umbrella is an accoutrement which a gentleman may definitely choose to add to his collection. The only thing I would say is it's worth investing a little bit more money than buying something cheap, which is going to degrade the overall appearance of your outfit. And you won't go far wrong if you invest in a traditional wood-handled black umbrella, for a gentleman's umbrella. Now, some men these days, they go down the golfing umbrella route, or they get given an umbrella at some sort of corporate function they go to, and that's the umbrella which they choose to carry when they're wearing a suit. And it might be garishly coloured, it might have some sort of brand logos on it, or you might get those small little folding umbrellas, which in point of fact are useless in keeping the rain off. I can see what Eric has gone for here is exactly what I would recommend a gentleman to carry. A traditional gentleman's full-size umbrella, black-bodied, with a wooden handle, dark in colour, and again it marries with the browns, the colours which are going on with this outfit. And you won't go wrong, because that will carry across any outfit that you need to use it with. And it can be carried throughout the day and look entirely appropriate. I'm not going to go into the brands of umbrellas which are available, because there is such a huge breadth of cost of quality out there, and there are shops in London which entirely specialise in the manufacture of umbrellas, and in fact more and more specialised umbrellas of high quality are coming onto the market at the moment. It's an area I'm looking to explore a little bit more actually at the moment. But yeah, what Eric has chosen here is what really I would suggest that a gentleman invest his money in, because it's going to cover you for every situation. So well done, Eric. A really classy outfit, and you're obviously cutting a dash in Stockholm, because I know Stockholm is somewhat staid in the outfits that people wear. I remember my own visit, and I think people have a strong connection with the colour grey. I know it's something to do with, you know, just the understated nature perhaps of Swedish people, or the Scandinavian sort of part of the world in general. Grey does tend to be the predominant colour I saw when walking the streets. So have a little bit of a pop of colour there, like a nice tie, nice shirt. It's going to make you stand out from the crowd. Thank you for sending your image today. I hope my observations were helpful for you, because I think you're a dapper chap and you wear that suit very well. So continue to cut a dash through the streets of Stockholm. Maybe I'll see you there next time I'm passing through. So if you've enjoyed this video today, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Click the old subscribe button if you'd like to see more like this. Don't forget, you can support the channel by buying me a coffee or even becoming a patron. And you'll find the links to all that in the show notes below. If you'd like to have your image featured on my Am I a Chap series, send me an email. Email address is on the screen now. Send me a nice big picture, as much definition as possible, head to toe, shoes to hat, as much clarity as you can, and I would love to feature you on a future edition of Am I a Chap? So until the next time, take care, wear your clothes with the same style as Eric has here, and I will see you again very soon.